Welcome to the November 14th edition of the PFF Forecast, post-Sunday night football edition, Week 10, almost in the books. We're going to talk about, are the Chiefs back? We'll find out. Also, what the hell is going on in the NFL? I don't know if there are any good teams. We'll talk about which teams we think are actually good enough to maybe win or make a Super Bowl run. And we're going to get on to Week 11, guess the lines, and the best bets. Let's rock. All right. Are the Chiefs back? That's what we have to start with.
I am committed to being objective here, and I'm also committed.
There's a first time for everything.
I'm committed to trying to be right on a lot of things. So here's what I'll say. I said last week we should not only discard the outlier bad games for teams, but the outlier good games for teams. There's a lot in this game that screams non-repeatable stuff for the Chiefs, right? The Raiders not really deploying the defense that the teams that have given the Chiefs troubles, tonight.
The Raiders sucking. Yeah.
Yeah, but the Raiders also didn't get out of a lot of their cover 3 stuff, right?
Yep.
There was the interception Casey Hayward should have gotten. There was the interception Trayvon Merrick should have gotten in the end zone. There was the Tyreek Hill fumble that was recovered by Tyreek Hill. So, be that as it may, our prior for the Chiefs was high, right? We talked about how our model liked them. We talked about how we were not going to pick them for lock of the week because there was just too much bad stuff going on with them. I'm not going to rush to take this game and say they're back. I'll say that.
They're not. If you are going to base them being back after one game, by the way, the first time this entire season that they have beaten a non-garbage team on the road, and you watch this game, I think you're ignoring some very important factors. The deep passing game is bad. Patrick Mahomes is still not hitting deep passes. And the Raiders are just dumb. The Raiders decided to continue playing a defense so here's how it works. The Raiders play cover 3 zone almost 15 or 20% more, I don't know what the exact number is, than any other team in the NFL. They are singularly unique in that aspect. You can go read about it on PFF.com. I believe it was Tej and
Ryan Wiesman
wrote about it. But they're very unique in their coverage scheme. What Mahomes and the Chiefs have struggled against this year has been man-to-man and too high safety looks. What did the Raiders do? Came out and played cover 3 zone. And the Chiefs were able to beat it. A lot of screens. That's great. But you've got to be able to hit deep throws. They continue to not hit deep throws. And I thought it was interesting. You mentioned the interception. That was a really good example of some luck on the Chiefs' end of things. The other thing is that Deshaun Jackson, what probably should have been a touchdown if he didn't get totally disoriented, that turned into a fumble. That was a huge play.
Yeah.
Right.
So let's back this thing up a little bit. So where are the Chiefs then? Because I think that the hardest part of this entire thing is every single AFC team has had this moment, right? The Browns had this moment against the Bengals, right? The Bengals had this moment against the Ravens. The Ravens had this moment against the Chiefs. The Bills had this moment against the Chiefs. The Titans have been really the only team that hasn't slipped up, but even they have a loss to the Jets, right? So on and so forth, right? I think that it's important to say this does not mean the Chiefs are back in the same sense that we believe them to be inevitable.
Did they vault any teams in the AFC today?
I think that they remain in the cluster of top AFC teams that I don't trust.
Okay, which is
all of them.
Yeah, but if you
like okay, so let's say this. Neutral field, who's favored, Kansas City or Tennessee?
It should be.
Okay.
Hold on. You asked me a question. Let me fucking think about it.
Okay.
Neutral field. I think that it is. Man, that is tough. I don't think either team should be favored by 3 or more.
Perfect, right? Baltimore, Kansas City. Who's favored on a neutral field?
Actually, it's interesting. I mean, I feel the same way. I almost feel stronger, even though Baltimore looked really bad against Miami. Tennessee's offense continues to be really unimpressive. Yeah. And I have a lot of faith. So here's how I'd put it. The AFC quarterbacks that I have the most faith in, it starts with Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
That's the quarterback I have the most faith in. That's not saying a lot, but it's a difference than, it's very different than it was last year where you go Mahomes and then Josh Allen. Right?
Yeah. Okay, so Buffalo on a neutral against Kansas City is probably favored. I would say that. Like I don't know by how much, and I do think Buffalo.
That's how the market would do it. Would have it, but do you feel that way? Because I don't think Buffalo's better than Tennessee. I don't think Buffalo's better than Baltimore.
I think so. This sounds really bad because Buffalo is clearly good and clearly kicked the crap out of Kansas City just a month ago.
The Jaguars.
Right. The Bills are, I think I said this on our show, maybe it was Chris's show, but the Bills sort of like tried to engineer this like Chiefs 2.0 team, and they run into the same problems the Chiefs run into, where, they can't buy a basket some games because they're not patient enough to go up and down the field. Their defense is better than the Chiefs' defense, but that's also pretty variable. So, like, you get what I'm saying, right? Like, the Chiefs are in this cluster of top-end AFC teams that I wouldn't be surprised if any of them made it out of the AFC. And the only thing that the Tennessee Titans have is going into the day they had the 32nd toughest schedule remaining. They already had the 1 seed in hand. They already have wins against Kansas City and Buffalo. So for all, like, unless things really implode for them, they're the 1 seed in the AFC, right? But as far as like power ranking any of these teams, they're all kind of in the same group for me. Cleveland today, terrible. Pittsburgh, obviously, no. And then, Cincinnati's a rung below, right? So to me...
Would Cleveland surprise you, though, if they made a run?
No. The thing with Cleveland that leaked today for me, I thought Mayfield... Funny how, like, Beckham didn't help Mayfield at all today, by the way. Could have ran a better route on that interception. But their defense was just horrendous today. And I watched that game against the Bengals. I'm thinking to myself, they can spread you out in the secondary. They can rush the pass with Clowney. And I'll say this, like, I came away, this sounds really bad, but like the 2 quarterbacks that changed my mind the most today, and probably because
Mike White?
No, one of them is Mike White like. The Mac Jones.
Played well.
Mac Jones dealt today. And the other one, and this has NFC implications. But Trevor Siemian played really well today, and it's like the 3rd straight week where he's not looked horrendous.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. Yeah. Let's get to the rest of the teams that we think can make a run here. But before, got to remind you guys that you can get 25% off any PFF subscription with the promo code FORECAST, FORECAST. It is getting that time of the year where you're going to give things to people that you know and love, and this is a great gift, maybe a little topper. Just write it in the card along with the gift that hopefully the supply chain gets through so that you can give all the gifts that you want to all the people that you love. But this gift, particularly wonderful, 25% off. Get all of PFF's locked article content, 0 to 100 grades, the player props tool, the betting dashboards, the best bets tool, fantasy rankings and projections, and a heck of a lot more with a PFF Elite subscription or Get PFF Edge and get all PFF's locked article content and fantasy tools, plus the power rankings tool, which we reference all the time on the show, for 25% off with the promo code FORECAST. Also, I was on a little trip today. I have many thoughts.
You sound a little hoarse.
I sound a little hoarse. I'm not going to blame American Airlines. Don't worry. I am going to blame American Airlines.
By the way, because if you want to sponsor the show, come and get us.
Right. No, do not. No, they cannot sponsor the show. American Airlines absolutely cannot sponsor the show. Who can sponsor the show, though? Manscaped.com. Once again, traveled with my Manscaped Lawnmower 4.0, which you can get by going to manscaped.com using promo code PFF for 20% off, plus free shipping. Once again, traveled like an absolute dream. Worked perfectly well. I haven't charged it in like 3 weeks. Still working. This week, we are giving away multiple performance package 4.0s. Rate and review this podcast. Leave your email, and we will choose winners at the end of the week. So if you are getting ready to go visit family, okay, and you need to travel with the performance package 4.0, go leave a review, 5 stars, with your email, and we will choose some winners. What you get as a part of that package, the Lawnmower 4.0, the electric trimmer that I've been talking about, telling you is wonderful. It's got skin-safe technology, so it doesn't cut anything that you obviously don't want to cut, but allows you to use it in the shower if you want. It's completely waterproof. It's an awesome tool. So go use promo code PFF at manscaped.com and leave a review. You get 20% off and free shipping with that promo code PFF. All right. You mentioned a bunch of other teams. I thought this would be interesting. Teams that like we think have a real chance, that we wouldn't be like, oh my God, I can't believe this team came out of absolutely nowhere.
It's not butter.
Yeah. Because you bring up the Patriots, and the Patriots were one that I thought made sense to talk about. The Patriots and the Browns played today. And in the AFC, going into the year, I think you would have been pretty surprised if the New England Patriots were competing for a Super Bowl. Would you be surprised if they made a run in the playoffs?
No. I mean, I think we want to look at Mac Jones and be like, man, that guy's limited, right? Mm-hmm. But, man, can he throw? Like, he's been very accurate. Mm-hmm. Jacoby Myers, Kendrick Bourne, Nelson, they've had moments, man. And
he did it without Jonnu Smith today, by the way.
The two tight ends, Hunter Henry was always like probably the better of those two guys, and he played well. Offensive line protected, really well. And that defense, like Matthew Judon was great. Our Deontay Lee had a great quote. He said, Matthew Judon's the kind of guy you don't want to go to the Patriots if you want the Patriots to stop winning. Mm-hmm. Obviously in the secondary they're great. And they got Jamie Collins back in linebacker. Like it's just like
Judon's been
it's
awesome.
The same nonsense for them as before. I think so. New England currently on DraftKings 25-1 to win the Super Bowl. That's right behind. That's the same as the Chargers. Watch the Chargers today. I think the Herbert regression stuff. You don't want to speak too soon, but first 5 games of the year is at an 88 grade. Next 5 games or 5 weeks, 4 games, he's had a 74 grade. So you've seen that regress a little bit for him. So they have a chance. They for sure have a chance.
Mac Jones has a higher PFF passing grade pending review this week than Justin Herbert, than Josh Allen, than Derek Carr, than Matthew Stafford, than Aaron Rodgers. He's been very, very good. He has not been asked to do as much, right? And I think that's probably the important thing to remember. I mean, the defense has played very, very well. They run the ball a bunch. And that's not to take anything away from Mac Jones, but it's an important part of the equation, right? Because you see a lot of rookie quarterbacks who come and join really bad teams. Mm-hmm. They're asked to do a ton of things. You look at some of the guys that are in the MVP conversation, like a Kyler Murray, Tom Brady, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, where they're asked to put the teams on their back. And that's not what they're asking Mac Jones to do. But he is performing very, very well. Big time throw rate of just under 5%. Which that's not Kyler Murray-esque, right? Kyler's at like 9%, but it's very impressive. If you're redrafting the quarterbacks today, does Mac Jones move up your list?
Yeah. I mean, I thought that
Are you taking him over Lance?
yeah.
Taking him over Fields?
No.
Are you taking him over Wilson?
No.
Really? You're taking him over Trey Lance, but not over Zach Wilson?
Trey Lance was the worst of those 5 quarterbacks.
Have you seen the Jets play?
I've seen the Jets play.
Have you seen Zach Wilson play quarterback?
I've seen Zach Wilson
Okay.
play. My thing is, okay, we'll stop right here.
Because if you're taking him over, explain to me how you're taking him over Trey Lance, but not Zach Wilson.
If I'm taking, here's the thing. So this is a great discussion because let's fold gambling into it. Okay, so if I'm trying to predict the spread of a game,
yeah,
and I only take the performance of that team during that season, I'm going to get a different spread than if I factor in priors.
Yep.
And I do better if I factor in priors. That's a proven thing. Everybody who models the NFL knows that. Here's the thing. If I had no data on any of those quarterbacks, I'm taking Mac Jones over all of them. Over all of them. That includes Trevor Lawrence. That includes Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
That includes Justin Fields. And that includes Trey Lance.
Yep.
If you add in priors, I still think the order is what my order was Lawrence. Well, it was kind of like 3, right? It was 1A, 1B, 1C was Lawrence, Wilson, and Fields. I saw no real distinction between those. In fact, to be fair, I liked Wilson over all 3 of those. He has not performed that way yet. And then I had Jones, and then I had Lance. I thought Lance was the worst of them. I said this during the draft show, which you can still watch, that we all were so relieved that the Niners didn't take Mac Jones that we overlooked the fact that they took the worst of those 3 quarterbacks in Lance.
Right. We would have taken Fields. Yes, that's understandable.
But we also would have taken Jones over Lance. I think I think Jones's median projection was good enough to overlook Lance's ceiling. That being said,
see, that's where I disagree.
Through 10 NFL weeks, if you overreact to too much of them, that's how you get the 2018 draft class where we're looking at and saying, oh, Baker's the best of them, Josh Allen's trash,
right,
and et cetera, et cetera. You still have to fold in, or if your priors are still you still have to regress to your priors a little bit, don't you?
Yes. And so there's a bunch of things. Let's talk about the priors real quick, because there's one thing about priors is that there's still uncertainty in how well calibrated they are. And my point on that would be, we have great data on Zach Wilson playing at BYU. There's a lot of uncertainty in that, right? And I think one of the things that we're finding out is that maybe, just maybe, that doesn't mean as much, right? And that he wasn't quite ready for it. Now, that being said, as you said, overreacting to 10 weeks is a huge mistake, especially because you're not looking for the median projection. Because Mac Jones' median projection is Kirk Cousins at this point, right?
Yeah, he's playing like Kirk Cousins is, which on a rookie deal
is great. That's great.
Most teams would win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins on a rookie deal.
I would.
The 2018 Rams, if they had Cousins instead of Goff on a rookie deal, they're more competitive in that year, right?
They lose the same way they lost that game.
Okay, maybe. I don't but Cousins on a rookie deal, if you get that level of performance, like the issue with Cousins or Goff or
well, I'll tell you who would have taken that is Kyle Shanahan. Probably take Kirk Cousins on a rookie deal.
Yeah, exactly.
But I think you're in today's NFL though, you want the Kyler Murray upside. You want the Patrick Mahomes, Justin Herbert can put these games together, because that's how you win a Super Bowl. And so, look, I'm still taking Justin Fields over Mac Jones. I'm still taking Trevor Lawrence over Mac Jones. I think Trey Lance and Zach Wilson over Mac Jones is a real debate. But if you are drafting for winning a Super Bowl, which I think most teams are, I think it's way too early after 10 weeks to be like, yeah, for sure.
Well, and especially with
Even though Mac Jones has played incredibly well.
Especially with Wilson, it's more like 6 or 7 weeks, right? Because he's missed 3 starts and he missed most of the other starts.
He's thrown enough interceptions.
He's been horrendous. I mean, like, look, I'm not papering over this. He's looked horrendous. I do think like watching another quarterback who's clearly not as good as him have success doing the thing he clearly was unwilling to do in his first 6 starts. Like, I think that bodes well for him. But no, like, look, Mac Jones. Like, here's the other thing we don't know about. Like, you talk about the BYU thing, which I think is very valid. But the part about Mac Jones we don't really understand is that Alabama offense, sort of weird, right? Because the 2019 version had 4 number 1 picks on it, and Mac Jones was pretty good when he came in for Tua. The 2020 version had 1 left, right? Or 2, I guess, if you count Mechie might end up being a first-round pick. And he was absolutely dealing last year. Like, but we've never had an Alabama quarterback play that well, right? We had Hurts, and Hurts has been fine in the NFL.
Played really well this year,
but we've had Hurts, but even Hurts in Alabama was not that productive from a passing perspective. He had to go to Oklahoma to be productive, by the way, which looks like more of an accomplishment with every passing Caleb Williams and Spencer Rattler start, by the way. And then we had Tua, and Tua was fantastic at Alabama and kind of middling in the NFL at best. So all this stuff is really hard, right? And I think our friend Josh Hermsmeyer, I think, he's gone a little bit nihilist with it. But, like, to be honest, there's part of me that kind of trends that way in a way, which is like, let's just draw really wide error bars on these guys and learn from this stuff, because I do think it's extremely tough. And that's why I spend a lot of my time trying to understand scheme, because I feel like it's a big deal. And I look at the Patriots. Josh McDaniels has done a fantastic job this year. Like, it's not like they're running out the Bucs receivers; they're running out Kendrick Bourne.
Yeah, no, they beat a real team this week. They had played the second easiest schedule to date.
Yeah, and 8th hardest.
Have the 8th hardest remaining, including today. So. It'll be interesting. I thought that this game was, as much about how well Mac Jones played as how poorly Baker Mayfield played, and how good Bill Belichick is at
can I ask you a
eating
question?
Quarterbacks' hearts out.
So I tweeted this out this week and got a fair amount of pushback. I viewed them signing both of their guards to big deals, 4 guards, as a sign that they were not going to do the big contract with Mayfield. And I may have worded it weirdly, like, oh, they're going to let Mayfield go at some point. Like, that's it, right? They're not signing these guards to humongous deals to sign Mayfield to a Dak Prescott's deal, are they?
Yeah, my take, I agree with you. My take on it was that you're signing those guards, you're signing your offensive line because you know that you're either going to keep Mayfield on a deal that's
does that ever happen?
Look, you're not getting paid by the number of commercials you do. He is not playing super well. I don't think that the way Mayfield is played right now, you're giving him a huge contract. You're going and you're saying, look, man, you have not played that well. We have a really good supporting cast. We'll bring you back on a middle of the road deal. And if not, then you say peace out, buddy.
But has that ever happened / worked?
It hasn't happened.
So yeah, like I guess the closest comparison is like Blake Bortles.
Yeah, but
Bortles and if you try
but that just because it hasn't happened before doesn't mean
I agree with that. But if you talk to Brad Spielberg or you talk to folks who are doing these negotiations, these agents, like it's all about comps. Right, they always try to do this nearest neighbor algorithm, and like the problem is if Mayfield's people go and they're like, look, like we kind of think he's not necessarily tier 1, we think he's like borderline tier 2. Everybody's going to be like, well, that's going to be a step below Prescott, and that's going to be plus adding inflation to the cap and stuff. That's going to mean he's going to cost 40 million, let's say, because that's like kind of in the ball. Like, and if you're the Browns, you're insane if you sign that deal. Like it is like you're insane if you sign him to $40 million.
If you're Baker Mayfield's agent and you walk in and try to put 4-0 anywhere in a PowerPoint presentation within the room that you're talking to the front office in, you should be shot out of a cannon out.
I agree, but like that doesn't mean that's not going to happen. And if you're the Browns and you look at
that would be absolutely
and you look at comparables, who are the comparables you're putting in if you want this middle class quarterback contract? You're basically talking about Bortles. And as much as I think Mayfield has underachieved at times with Cleveland, he's better than Bortles. Like he's literally in this no man's land. And I guess the other comp you have is Kirk Cousins. Like the 2 tags, and even Dak had a tag. Like and tagging, I wrote about this on PFF.com back when he was tagged. Tagging never works for quarterbacks, never, because if he proves that he's worthy of the franchise tag, he wasn't worth tagging to begin with. And if he was bad, you misidentified him. And if he's great, you're going to be spending through so. The decision is to be made now, right? And I know it's a hard problem, but to me, the Cleveland Browns are building a roster that you can win football games with Jameis Winston, Case Keenum, guys like that. And like I commend them if that's the approach they're taking, because it would be against the grain. But like I'd rather go against the grain than be like the Eagles post Carson Wentz or the Rams post Jared Goff. I'd rather that outcome.
And I would guess my thought would be if you're signing players that are I don't know what the right word is.
Complementary to a quarterback.
Yeah, but even like in terms of how complementary they are like not tier 1 complementary. They're like tier 2 or tier 3 complementary, which is what the guards are. Then
role players, basically.
Yes, you are preparing to win with a rookie quarterback deal. Is my take on it. And so either you're getting Baker at a very team-friendly deal, you're getting him on a prove-it deal that is still team-friendly, or you're going out and you're saying, look, we're going to draft a quarterback and see how it goes. And I think that would, honestly, probably be the smartest thing to do. I just wanted to run through teams real quick and get your take on, like...
Sorry, I derailed the conversation, but I thought it was good.
It's okay. Yeah, I agree. Can these teams make a Super Bowl run? The Seattle Seahawks.
No.
The San Francisco 49ers.
No.
The Los Angeles Chargers. I go yes. This is one where I go yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yes, borderline.
Okay. The Cincinnati Bengals.
No.
Okay. The Minnesota Vikings.
No.
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
No. Hell no.
We're in agreement.
I like Mike Tomlin a lot.
We're in agreement
but
so
hell
far.
No.
The Indianapolis Colts.
No.
Okay. The
on the ropes today against Jaguars.
The Las Vegas Raiders.
No.
Okay.
Too many things going bad there.
Okay.
Hard schedule too.
New England Patriots. I think we both said yes.
Yes.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yes.
Cleveland Browns.
No. Baker's too limited.
Okay. I'm gonna say yes.
It's borderline.
I'm gonna say yes.
I mean, they have the same Super Bowl odds as the Chargers, the other team we are kind of on the borderline with.
I'm gonna say yes, and here's why I'm gonna say yes. This is the week. I'm not overreacting to this week's games. 2 weeks ago, the Denver Broncos took the Dallas Cowboys and wiped the floor with them.
Mm-hmm.
This week, the exact opposite happened for both those teams. 2 weeks ago, the Buffalo Bills got destroyed. Well, not destroyed, but they lost to the Jaguars. That's the equivalent of getting destroyed.
Yep.
This week, they came in.
So Cleveland's last 3 weeks got beat at home by a bad Pittsburgh team, killed the Cincinnati Bengals, got equally killed by the New England Patriots. Like, you average those out.
It's been up and down.
You take the median for them, they're kind of an average team.
And Baker's hurt. So
yeah, that's a good point about Baker. He is not healthy.
I want to okay, so I have 4, you have 3, I think. Baltimore Ravens.
Yes.
Absolutely. LA Rams.
Reluctantly, yes.
That's 6. The New Orleans Saints.
No, as much as I like Simeon, no.
I'm with you there. The Buffalo Bills.
Yes.
Tennessee Titans.
Yes.
Green Bay Packers.
Yes.
Chiefs.
Yeah.
Cardinals.
Yeah.
Bucks. So I think we have like 10. Are there any teams that I missed that you think can make a Super Bowl run?
Left on this list.
Our Bears.
Denver, no. Chicago, no.
Yeah, I don't think so. So I think 10
Atlanta,
is a fair
no.
number. 10 teams that I think could win the Super Bowl. That's a pretty decent.
By the
number.
way, I think when you look at if you look at this so we have Bills are currently 6-1 on DraftKings, Bucks are 6.5 to 1, Rams 7 to 1, Cowboys 9 to 1, Packers 10 to 1, Arizona 11 to 1, Chiefs 11 to 1, Titans 12 to 1. That's interesting since we would like the Chiefs, but Titans, but I do know that like their offense is kind of bad right now. Yep. Marcus Johnson, a great game though. Ravens 14 to 1. Interesting. So that right there is 9, and then we have Chargers 25 to 1, Patriots 25 to 1, Browns 40 to 1. So those are like the teams that we're talking about, and where the market has them. We are the most split on Chargers, New England, Cleveland. That's kind of where the market is as well. After that, Cincinnati 50 to 1, Indy, Las Vegas, and New Orleans all 60 to 1. I think clear from any contention there.
I agree. We're going to get to week 11. Before we do, if you're going to go bet on the Super Bowl and who wins it or who makes it, go do that at DraftKings Sportsbook, the official betting partner of the NFL. Here's the deal. New customers who use promo code PFF when they deposit and bet just $1 on any team to score can win $100 in free bets when that team scores. You score. It's very simple. The Sportsbook is awesome, and they make sure that you get plenty of boosts. You can do same-game parlays. They give all new customers a free shot at $1 million when they make their first deposit. Tons of good odds boosts, as I think I just mentioned. DraftKings Sportsbook is the best sportsbook. So go download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code PFF at $1 on either team to score and win $100 in free bets if they score. You score with promo code PFF at the DraftKings Sportsbook app, the official betting partner of the NFL. You must be 21 and older, New Jersey, Indiana, Pennsylvania only. New customers are eligible. Minimum $5 deposit, $1 wager required, one per customer. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Also, we are brought to you by our friends at Western and Southern Financial. Whether you want to learn about football or finance, they've got a great deal for you because they're partnering with Cris Collinsworth and the Cris Collinsworth podcast on the Ask Chris opportunity. You can go to westernsouthern.com/askchris and submit a question to Chris, anything you want. And when you do, you will get a chance to win a completely expenses paid catered party for February's big game. You know which game I'm talking about. You can ask anything you want, financial, football, get it answered on the Cris Collinsworth podcast and Western and Southern's Instagram for answers to the best questions every single week. Remember, with Western and Southern, you can get a game plan for your financial future. westernsouthern.com/askchris. All right, week 11. You ready to rock?
Mm-hmm.
Let's get this thing going.
I have a nice little tweet.
Oh, great.
You want one? Yeah.
About time.
Back to work.
Oh, man.
Sorry. I felt like you needed that. You needed a laugh.
I did.
If no one watches the games, so me and David Silfaro are Kansas City fans. When we watch games, we are somewhat insufferable.
Oh, somewhat?
And George today, I like to think I'm a little funny at least. I can get you to crack a laugh every once in a while. But
volume shooter.
But I'm a volume shooter from the jokes perspective for sure. I'm
worst
certainly
one today. Okay, so here it is. It's basically you and Dave are sitting next to each other. You guys are the Kansas City Brain Trust, commenting on every single play, literally every single play. And the worst one you had today was, I call him Garrel Williams because he reminds me of Gale Sayers. That was honestly, that was a 0 out of 10.
Darrell Williams, by the way,
okay.
I will say, Dave, Austin, and I, we went to the sports book in Indiana for the noon games today, and I don't think we could buy a bucket. We had the under lock of the week. We were 1-1 in our locks of the week this week. First time we had.
By the way, I can't believe I forced us into a teaser. I'm sorry. And the fact
I don't think we had one teaser hit the whole week.
The fact that we didn't identify the Chiefs as the lock.
Well, it was more of the Raiders, right? The dysfunction that was the Raiders. It was less Kansas City getting right, more like the Raiders, because we were looking at Kansas City and thinking but we did get under 44.5 in New Orleans, Tennessee. It ended 44. If you bet it on game day, you lost. You lost. Yes. But luckily, a lot of us had that 44.5. But like everything I bet today was terrible. And then as I was leaving, I just like fired off on a bunch of like Chiefs alt lines. So like Chiefs minus 6.5, Chiefs minus 9.5, Chiefs minus 13.5, Kelsey and Hill both over 6.5 catches, all this stuff. And like literally that game just like was, and the last one I fired off was Darrell Williams under rushing yards, which like Darrell Williams had like 10 catches for 100 yards today, but like rushing the ball, they like stopped giving him the ball. So it was, he was not Gale Sayers on the ground today, but it didn't matter.
Thursday Night Football, Patriots at Falcons. I struggled with this line quite a bit. What do you have it at?
Say that again. Patriots, Falcons?
Patriots, Falcons, Thursday Night Football.
I think Falcons are getting 2.5 at home.
I have Falcons +3.
All right, let's look. Falcons, what was your favorite, the Falcons, if the season ended today, the Falcons are in the playoffs moment?
Yeah. So I struggled with this line. I initially, to be really fair with you, I initially went like, could I make this 7? No. It's like, but can I make it 6.5? Can I make it 5.5? And then I said, you know what? I am not going to overreact to this last week.
I guess we have to take Atlanta
because
again.
the Falcons went out, they beat the Saints. They then went to Dallas, who was playing. Dallas was playing a Super Bowl today. If they lose this game today, Jerry Jones isn't giving them a meal ticket to go get food after the game.
Yeah.
So I don't want to overreact to that. I also don't want to overreact to Baker Mayfield's bum shoulder getting worked in New England. This game is in Atlanta, but it's 5.5.
The other thing that you have to consider here, and maybe when I made the line, I did not consider this. Rookie head coaches playing Thursday Night Football against against anybody, but rookie head coaches on Thursday Night Football,
that's fair,
are notoriously bad. And obviously Arthur Smith. I mean, the part of me is the interesting thing about the Falcons. I actually think the Falcons are well coached by Arthur Smith. I think they're a little rough around the edges. They evidently made the right decision on Julio Jones, by the way, but they're just not close talent-wise, right? Like talent-wise, they're just not there yet. But at the same time, like, is this a letdown spot for New England? You had Belichick revenge game against the Browns. He always loves to bang up the Browns because they fired him.
Where do you think this one's moving? Because on Pinnacle, it's -110. -5.5 is -110.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think, like, look, if the point of this show, and we do get closing line value in almost every pick, if the point of this show is to get closing line value.
If we're betting now,
you leave this alone.
Yeah, we should be.
You leave this alone.
Okay.
But you just swallow some humble pie and say, look, I thought the Falcons were going to be lined better, but if you actually like Atlanta, now is not the time to bet Atlanta.
I think it will be a good bet by the end of the week.
Yeah.
Or by Thursday, I guess. 1 p.m. slate. Saints go to Philadelphia to face the Eagles. I have the Eagles getting 4.5.
This is interesting, right? Because we've had the Saints have gotten a lot of respect. Mm-hmm. The Saints-Tennessee game was sort of the biggest, and I don't mean this in a pejorative way, but like a lot of what would be considered sharps, like the Saints, and bet it down to 2.5. A lot of people, when the injury news came out, like Tennessee, and bet it at -3. Game closes 2. Tennessee kind of controlled that game, although New Orleans had the 2 missed PATs and the fumble. I think the Saints are my whole point of saying that is I think the Saints and the Eagles are closer than what people want to believe. But the Saints are going to continue to get respect in the markets because of Sean Payton. And
what do you have this at?
2.5 Saints.
It is Saints +1.5.
That makes more sense though, given everything. Like I thought
this is the most I've been off on a line all year, I think.
What do you have?
I had it at Eagles +4.5.
Yeah, so Eagles are favored by 1. The Eagles got a ton of respect against the Chargers, and they got a ton of respect against the Broncos this week. People like the Eagles. I think, do you believe that it's partially because the Eagles sort of play an old school style of football and offense? They kind of limit mistakes, don't they?
Yeah, and Hurts has been really solid.
Hurts plays what they do. Like here's what I'll say: the Eagles' defense is the most unimaginative pile of scheme that I've ever seen. Like, if you are a competent offense, you can shred the Eagles. The problem is the Denver Broncos are not competent, and the Saints were plucky today, but I think Tennessee played a defense that we were kind of expecting of them all year. Can't cover anybody. Pass rush is just okay. So I don't really want to bet this game, but I do think that this is a water level of where we should be. I think the Saints and Eagles, after you add everything up, are probably closer than.
Yeah, here's the tough thing with crossing 3 in either direction is this feels like a knockdown, drag out kind of game. Saints in
Eagles
a teaser.
are alive.
Saints in a teaser out to plus 7.5 is something that
I mean, you got to wait for it though. But yeah.
What do you mean wait for it?
Well, isn't it just 1?
1.5.
Okay. All right.
Dolphins, Jets. This game sucks. I don't know if I have this line. Apparently, I'm way off today. I have Jets plus 6.5.
Dolphins coming off of Thursday Night Football. Jets, probably Zach Wilson this week, right? So I would imagine it's not even on the board, although whatever. Let's go Jets. Yeah, I mean, so the Dolphins were favored by, 4.5 against Houston at home, and then they've won 2 games since. The Jets are kind of meh. I'll say Dolphins laying 3.5.
It's plus 3. Plus 3 minus 107 on Pinnacle.
Yeah, so right around, okay.
What am I missing here? The Jets are absolutely awful.
Yeah, but the Dolphins stink.
There's different levels of stink. The Jets are a dumpster fire.
Who's starting at quarterback for the Dolphins?
Doesn't matter. They're the same person. Jacoby or Tua, it's the same freaking person.
Okay. So you see, I just can't lay points on the road with a bad team. I don't care against who. It could be like us and our flag football team, and I wouldn't lay points with them.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand this line at all. The Jets are very, 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 very bad. Like, terrible.
Mm-hmm. I know.
Either one of those quarterbacks is throwing 4 interceptions against the Dolphins.
No.
Yes.
I mean, the Dolphins blew like their entire like bankroll on beating the Ravens. Don't you think?
Well, yeah, they were at home. It was a Thursday night game.
They literally sent the house on every play.
That won't work against the Jets.
I think the Jets will run arrow routes to the running backs the entire game if that's the case.
The Jets apologist, live in living color. Washington, Carolina. What do you have this at?
Washington at Carolina. Let me look. I have Carolina laying 2.5. I don't know who the quarterback is.
I am going to assume it is Cam Newton by next week.
Is this Ron Rivera revenge game season?
It is. I have 2.5 as well. It is -3 plus 102. So right about spot on.
Makes a lot of sense to me.
Right about spot on. Good job by Taylor Heineke today, by the way.
He was great.
Yeah.
I mean, we liked Tampa last week at this time. They closed better than we bet it, so, whatever. But, man, Tampa, what? Okay, we haven't even brought up Tampa. What's the issue with the Bucs?
They're injured.
Okay.
Right. Antonio Brown is their best receiver.
Isn't it crazy that he's their best receiver?
He was not playing.
Godwin,
Godwin a little banged up.
Yeah, but he's also not. Godwin needs to be a 2, right? He can't be the 1 for that team.
Well, he's not. He's the 3.
Yeah, but like
he had a foot injury, didn't practice this week, and
they also could use Gronk.
They have no ability to cover anybody.
Yeah,
that's a problem. I also think
10-minute drive by the Washington football team to close that game out.
Yeah, Vita Vea got hurt. That's a big loss for them.
Shows how tenuous defense is.
Yes, Richard Sherman was a late scratch in that game. I mean, they're banged up in the secondary. Colts go to Buffalo, play the Bills. I have the Bills favored by 6.5.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, it is 7 minus 102 plus 7 is minus 108. So
plus 7. I think aren't the Colts the side here?
At plus 7?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
This is a rematch of a playoff game that the Colts lost by 3 with Phillip Rivers playing a good game.
Yeah, I mean, I think
Bills are not as good as they were last year.
I think the thesis, tell me if you disagree, but I think a good way to think about betting games, if you are, it's a week-to-week league. If you are buying teams at the top of the market against other like decent teams, like there's just not a huge spread amongst the teams that are real NFL
If you get a competent team against another competent team and you're getting a touchdown, I feel like the other competent team is a good side to have.
Yeah, I agree.
Like the Colts, what are the Colts? The Colts had to grind one out today against Jags, but they were up a lot. Carson Wentz kind of did Carson Wentz shit all day, and was kind of like, but like Buffalo is a play too high, soft, defense that Jonathan Taylor can kind of run against. And
the Colts, I think, will do things against Josh Allen that will force them to, slow the game down, and he probably won't put up 40. Josh Allen played well today, though, by the way.
Yeah, it was a slow start for him, but they put it on it.
Lions go to Cleveland to play the Browns.
God dang it.
Good opportunity for the Browns to figure it out here. I believe that Baker Mayfield will be back. That is what Kevin Stefanski said he thinks. What do you have this one at?
Browns laying 13.5.
That is exactly what I said, I think. Let me go back to my notes here. No, I said 12.5. And I don't see this on Pinnacle.
I think it's because you don't have a quarterback.
Yeah, not sure about the quarterback. It was 9.5, according to our friend Jeff Sherman at Golf Odds on Twitter.
Doesn't this feel like the kind of game that the Browns just like win by a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Jared Goff. Well, and the other thing is Jared Goff might not play. Jared Goff was injured.
He was hurt,
but he was also horrendous today. Like,
that wasn't great.
Horrendous. Like, it was one of those games where there were multiple drives where the Lions just ran the ball 3 consecutive plays, and
yeah, it wasn't great.
What are you doing? I guess they're waiting for Tim Boyle to come back. Like, that's the only way.
This game being under 10 to me.
Yeah.
The Lions are really not great. They put up a spirited effort, played all the way into, played the fifth
Plus
quarter.
8 was a send when you heard the news that line was available for at least a minute or two.
This one's interesting to me. Okay. 49ers go to Jacksonville, play the Jaguars. 49ers obviously play today or tomorrow. Today, I guess. I have the Jaguars getting 3.5 points at home.
I have the Jaguars getting 4.5.
Okay. It is pre-Sunday night, according to Jeff Sherman. It was San Francisco -5, so Jags +5.
Yeah, so that's. I mean, this is the market really liking the Jags, really liking the Niners still, right? Like, we'll see what they do tonight. What do you think? I mean,
yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm trying to think about what.
Market's moved in the Niners' direction since the Robert Woods injury.
And the Niners have played, the Niners play the Rams really, really well.
The Niners' last home win was October 18th of last year against the Rams on Sunday Night Football.
Yeah, I don't know. This one, I don't know that the Niners should get that much respect, to be honest. But we'll see. Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence looked terrible today. Like, he made some throws that were great, but, like, for the most part, the guy can't.
He's a rookie. It's gonna be an up and down thing.
Yeah. So it's a week-to-week league for the
Texans Titans in Tennessee. I have the Titans favored by 14.5. Oh wow! What do you have this at?
I said 13.5.
It's 10.
Well, you know why that is, right? You know who? I mean no disrespect.
Is this because of Tyrod?
Yeah, Tyrod's one of the Tyrod. I don't know if Tyrod's overrated or not, but like you remember 2 weeks ago or last week, when they faced the Miami Dolphins. Once people found out Tyrod was playing, that number went down like 2 points.
Yeah.
And Tyrod is respected in the betting markets.
That's a guy that covers.
But is he? Like
I don't know. Oh man, the Titans have played some really good teams.
Sucks, dude.
Yes, but they played good teams.
Yeah. Some point there's a letdown spot, isn't there? And the interdivision familiarity. I guess the issue with interdivision familiarity is literally no one on Houston has played for Houston for that long. So
And
there's no
David
like,
Culley's never
David Culley. I mean,
part of this
Davis
division.
Mills, Tyrod Taylor. None of those guys were on Houston even last year. But like, there's all those like sort of things there. I don't want to lay points with that Titans offense though.
Cool.
That Titans offense is,
It's not great.
yeah.
Packers Vikings is a good game in Minnesota. I'm very
Mm-hmm.
curious what you have this at.
Vikings getting 3.
It's exactly what I have. It is Vikings getting 2.5 plus 102. Whatever.
Vikings. Well, so that means it's
Yeah.
trending 3. I mean, the Vikings are getting a lot of respect, and this is an interesting one, and I do think that this gives rise to a distinction that we have to make. If I could coach the bets, the Vikings would be a lot better than they are, right? Like if you could tell them, look, your best player is Justin Jefferson, throw to him early and often. The Vikings are hard to beat that way. It's just that some of these games, they just get into a shell and they lose to Cooper Rush and like stuff like that. Today against the Chargers, I mean, granted, the Chargers are just another version of the Vikings, but like against the Chargers, the Vikings did those things. They were very good.
I love this spot.
Minnesota getting 3.
No, it's 2.5 right now. As you said, it's trending.
You want
3, right?
the Packers -3 or minus 2.5.
Minus 2.5, yes.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, a little
Indoors.
rusty today.
Yeah.
Owns the Vikings.
Rogan.
And the Packers, I know, like, defense is a hard thing to predict. The Packers defense is playing a lot better than I
Eric
thought they would.
Stokes 0 catches allowed today. Although, could Russell Wilson throw it in the ocean today?
It was not great.
I mean, he was horrible.
It was not great.
They should sit. If they lose another game, they're basically out of it. They should sit him the rest of the year. Like, there's no reason to get him out there and get him hurt more.
Yeah, so we'll talk about this when we get to the Seahawks. I kind of like I like two sides of this. I like the Vikings at home teased out to 8.5, and I like Aaron Rodgers -2.5 against Kirk Cousins. That's an opportunity.
It's a privilege, is what it is.
Yeah, Ravens at Bears. What'd you have this at?
Yeah, I have Ravens. So this one's interesting. I think that the Ravens, even though they're coming off, so the Bears are coming off of a bye.
Mm-hmm.
The Ravens, though, are coming off of Thursday Night Football. So this is kind of like they're screwing the Bears here out of a bye.
Yep.
Somewhat. I think the Bears are going to get 3.5 at home. I think it's less than what.
I have the Bears getting 6. And that is exactly what it is.
So 6. So do we like the Bears?
No.
So
You might.
the Ravens are. This is interesting. This is like have somebody who's followed Kansas City for a while. The Ravens are trending towards Kansas City in levels of
Respect.
stars and scrubs. No. Respect. I respect the Ravens. By the way, last week we said I mentioned that Lamar was inaccurate during the first half of a game, and there's always people that comment on like you say Lamar's trash. I'm like, no, Lamar went 8 for 17 in the first half of a game. Like that's not saying he's trash. That's like stating a fact. And but like the Ravens are not good from player 6 to 53.
Yeah, that's
They're
true.
just not. And like they used to be a team that spent 66% of their cap on the defense, and Lamar was cheap and Lamar's still cheap this year. But the injuries and like sort of atrophy of that roster, like games like the Thursday night game against Miami, like are like
Yeah, but
they're not that good
about
like,
that game. They had played a full
70 minutes
extra quarter. Yeah, I don't know. This is another one of those situations where I don't want to overreact to what I just saw, which was obviously a nationally televised game, a solo game where they played really poorly.
And the Bears, by the way, we would almost be overreacting to how well the Bears played in the second half of that game against Pittsburgh because they should have won that game. If you take away the referees, I think they do win. I'm fine laying off it. I would not lay a touchdown on the road. Ravens against the Bears.
I'm not saying I would. Yeah, I'm not saying I would. I mean, I had it right at 6, so like I feel like that's probably fair. All right, the 4 p.m. slate is good. Bengals Raiders in Vegas. I have the Raiders favored by 3.
2.5.
Okay. Let's see here. Not a
Raiders
pickle.
taking a big L tonight, though.
This is a pick. Wow. A pick.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can get that anywhere, but that's what it was pre-Sunday night, which is surprising.
So it's not going to be out to 2.5. So I'll take Raiders here.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you.
Are the Raiders? So here's a question, because I know the Raiders are dealing with it right now, but are the Bengals better coached than the Raiders?
No.
Do the Bengals have a better quarterback than the Raiders? Snapshot right now. No cares about the future or contract or anything. Right now.
To me, they're like.
Yeah, it's
Same
not
guy.
that much different.
Yeah.
The Carr's probably a little bit better. The Bengals have better weapons. Defenses are about equivalent. In fact, I would take the Raiders defense over the Bengals defense, all told. And if you get Deshaun Jackson there for another week, the Bengals are coming off of a bye, and a road bye matters. But, I think you're buying the Raiders really freaking low right now.
Yep,
if you take
I agree.
This. So let's think about Raiders. If you can get it. If we can find it somewhere.
Find it. I agree. Cardinals, Seahawks. So Russell Wilson is trending to be one of the 3 lowest graded quarterbacks
That's a shame.
this week. It was really not a good performance from him, which makes me wonder, did he work too hard coming back? Because
he was working too hard.
The word that came out was that he was spending 19 hours repairing his finger, which, by the way,
who cares?
Is just, it's so perfect to hear that, because that's complete baloney. It's like, what? No, you're not. I'm not going to continue commenting on it. I just think that was hilarious. It clearly paid off. Cardinals, I would assume Kyler Murray will be back after that spirited Colt McCoy performance. What do you have this at?
Doesn't make the Niners loss Colt McCoy look all that great. But
No.
The backup, it was actually, I was on Circles Off podcast with Rob Azzola, who's a professional bettor. I thought it was a really good time. And he mentioned to me something to think about, which was, does a backup quarterback in his first start or first collection of starts generate more value than subsequent starts? Is there a sort of relief pitcher coming in, adding, that clearly happened to McCoy. It actually didn't happen with Trevor Siemian and other guys today. Mike White, it happened.
You know what? It's funny because I think there's 2 components to that. I agree. One component is obviously the other team doesn't really know what to expect. You might change your offense. The other is when a backup comes in and plays in their first game, they're playing with house money, right?
Yeah.
Kind of, free and easy, right? Whatever, man. It's a shot, let's take it. I got nothing to lose. When they play well, all of a sudden they got something to lose, right? Because they go, if I string some stuff together, this could be, a bigger contract, right? Maybe some team will sign me to start, and I'll make 10x what I'm making this year, and that's fucking huge, right? And all of a sudden you just kind of, that gets in your head. I have the Seahawks getting 2.5 points at home.
Yeah, if you assume Murray, I think it's got to be that. Maybe 3. Kind of what I have written.
It is 1.5.
Ugh. I don't think I want to bet it though.
-1.5. Cardinals -1.5 is -114. So probably pretty close to.
We don't know how healthy Murray is. The Seahawks defense, I don't care what the numbers they put up in the Geno Smith era or this past game. They're not good still. They're in that same category as Kansas City, where they've caught some nice variance here, but they're not great. Cardinals, via that Thursday night loss, the Packers are the 1 seed in the NFC right now. So important game for them.
I am going to, as much as I hate hearing I spent 19 hours a day rehabbing my freaking finger, I do want to fade the Russell Wilson all of a sudden stinks narrative. He came back after a long time off and played in freezing Lambeau Field. Yeah. He's going to be at home. It's 2.5. Well, right now it's 1.5, but it's trending that way. I do like this as a teaser leg.
All right, let's put that in a teaser with New Orleans at Philly. So we'll go C +7.5 versus ours Okay.
Maybe the game of the entire week. It's probably the game. It's definitely the game of the entire week. Cowboys Chiefs in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Very curious what you had here.
Yeah. So going into the week, I had it a pick.
Wow. I had Chiefs -3. Wow. Going into the game tonight, it was KC pick. Or sorry, it was pick.
Pick. Yeah.
That is nuts.
So isn't that classic though? Like we were talking about, you don't overreact to the negative game that Dallas plays, and I don't think you should overreact too much to the game the Chiefs played. I do worry though. In this game, if you're a Dallas fan,
what about overreacting to the game that the Cowboys had today?
I think then the people I think they're going to cancel each other out. Dallas played a great game. Kansas City played a great game. I think like Dallas playing one bad game still doesn't like erase the fact they've been pretty impressive all year. The tricky part about this game though, right? If you're Dallas or if you're inclined to back the Cowboys, is no Randy Gregory, right? No DeMarcus Lawrence probably. The pass rush is going to have a hard time. Secondary is not great. They do get interceptions and stuff. They did shut down the Falcons. It was impressive. So do they have the discipline to play the too high stuff that every team but the Raiders has this year?
Yes, and I think what this is saying too is it doesn't matter whether we think the Chiefs' offense is back. We think a good offense, and this is right, will score as many points as they want against the Chiefs. I think that's what this is about, right?
Do you think that that's actually true still?
Yes.
Okay. I think that the Chiefs defense. So this is possibly my fandom coming out, but it also I think is backed up. I think with taking Sorensen off the field for the majority of the games, taking Neiman off the field for the majority of the games, and a emergence to an extent from Chris Jones and Frank Clark puts the Chiefs defense not good, but in that 2019 category where against a good offense like the 1999ers in the Super Bowl, the Titans in the playoffs, I'm a little worried that they're going to creak, but I'm not like that. The sky is falling.
Okay. So would you take the Chiefs then?
If it's a pick 'em,
because I would
take the Chiefs in a pick 'em.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sunday Night Football.
The moratorium on Kansas City betting lasted 1 week. Everybody, let it be known. Let the record show.
Steelers Chargers. Assuming Big Ben will be back for this. But
God, I love this game. You know why I love this game? I love this game because if you have win total under on these two teams, one of them is going to lose. Or, and by the way, if you bet Steelers under 8.5 wins, tie's just as good as loss, baby.
That's true.
That's why the Steelers coming through today.
That's true. I assumed that Big Ben would be back for this. I have Chargers -2.5.
Yeah, same.
This will be a very pro Steelers stadium in Los Angeles. And the Chargers have not exactly looked great recently.
Chargers haven't been good since when? Maybe the Browns game?
Yeah. It's interesting. If you look at our power rankings going into the week, we have the Chargers and the Steelers power ranked very similarly.
Dead nuts. Chargers were 0 points better than average team on neutral field.
Both of them have played very hard schedules thus far. I think 2.5 is the right number. And that's saying something because
we don't know if Big Ben's playing, so there's no number available.
Did Sherman have anything? So Jeff Sherman had Chargers -3.5. Westgate Superbook. Chargers -3.5. I don't know if I'm taking that though, not knowing about Big Ben.
Yeah.
And like knowing about Big Ben.
Staley, by the way, what did we say on this show? By the way, we said on this show that Brandon Staley might not be sharp; he might just be aggressive, right? We said that he, in the Chiefs game, he erred in not holding the ball and kicking, all this stuff. He made a blunder at the end of that Vikings game that was pretty substantial, like kicking the field goal to go down 7 when you had 4th and 1 at the 5, was a blunder. And Minnesota got them in a position where either they kick a 50-yard field goal to go up 10, or they run Dalvin Cook on 4th and 2 to end the game. Either way, the Chargers got screwed by that decision by Staley. And, we were quick to praise him. We have to be fair. I think we have to be quick to look at that situation and look at it with a skeptical eye there.
Last game, Monday Night Football. Giants go to
Second
Tampa
straight
Bay
year.
to face the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Are the Tampa Bay Bucs still the best team in the NFL?
They have it sucks because I think they have the most potential. I think they have more potential than even the Chiefs or the Bills.
Yeah, I agree with you there. It's tough to say that they're the best right now because they're so banged up. But if you assume that they get some positive regression in the health realm,
losing to back-to-back
best
backup Viking quarterbacks is not great. Not a good look.
Not a good look. They did get a little unlucky with some turnovers. I had the Bucs favored by 13.
Yeah, I said 12.5.
And it is 11.5.
Yeah. I think, by the way, that part of this is that last year, they played on Monday Night Football last year too, and they got backdoored. They were covering for a while, and then the Giants, the Golden Tate touchdown, the missed 2-point conversion, that kind of thing. But also the Giants are coming off of a bye, I believe, and Tampa's not. Tampa's banged up.
Yeah.
So Giants coming off a pretty big bye now that they get all the way out to Monday night. But
cool. That is Week 11. We will write up our favorite picks. You can read them on pff.com on Wednesday. We love you all. Thanks for hanging out. Peace.